And ponder, and these guys get in your head, we're going to go to news headlines.
Coming up in NBN News, security breach, the Parliament House protest that's raised major safety concerns. Embattled WA Senator Fatima Payman quits the Labor Party. Tragic details as a man faces court over the death of his new wife in a golf buggy crash on Hamilton Island. Also tonight, inside the nerve centre of the Newcastle fire station, its important statewide role. And the young Hunter modern pentathlete set to compete in Paris. Details coming up next. Tonight, high drama at federal parliament as protesters scale the roof while a senator quits Labor.
A New South Wales man goes on trial over his wife's buggy crash death on Hamilton Island.
From the Hunter and Central Coast to the North Coast, court sheriffs walk off the job over a pay dispute.
Exclusive, we take you inside the Newcastle Centre that handles emergencies across New South Wales.
And a show of support for the Sharks as they look to bounce back in Coffs Harbour.
This is NBN News with Gavin and Natasha Beyersdorf.
Good evening. It's been a dramatic day in Canberra with protesters staging a sit-in on the roof of Parliament House and a senator walking away from Labor.
29-year-old Fatima Payman says she couldn't toe the party line on the war in Gaza, claiming she was intimidated and stood over by her colleagues.
Pro-Palestine protest on the People's House. Faces covered, 4 demonstrators scramble onto the roof of Parliament's forecourt. Banners hitched to the coat of arms, a slogan deemed offensive now dangling from the facade.
Australia has been relentless in its genocidal intent.
Inside the building, a lone voice and her own form of dissent.
With a heavy heart but a clear conscience, I announce my resignation from the Australian Labor Party.
Suspended from the caucus after crossing the floor to vote for Palestinian recognition, Senator Payman says she was intimidated and stood over by her colleagues.
And I'm wondering at what stage crossing the floor first crossed your mind?
It was actually brought up by the Prime Minister's office. I actually initially didn't think that was an option until that was brought up. And I said, wait, well, what does that mean to cross the floor? I was escorted to the Prime Minister's office after I'd crossed the floor. I was getting a lot of stares and glares, and it is quite patronising.
We also are fundamentally a team, and we need to be moving forward on that basis.
Senator Payman was elected with 1,681 personal votes, 500,000 fewer than Labor in WA. But as an elected senator, she's now entitled to sit for 2 terms, likely until 2027.
Senator Payman would not be a senator in the Australian Senate if she hadn't been a Labor candidate for the Australian Senate.
In her hometown, solidarity from the largest mosque. A hero's welcome, we're told, waiting for her in the West.
This is not about affiliation or leaning towards any political party. This is not about votes.
We'll have to see. I can't preempt how I'll vote.
Back outside with police watching on and cleaners already back at work, the protest turned to paper planes.
Protesters last abseiled at the front of the building in 2016. It sped up major security restrictions that have, once again, been breached.
We've seen protests in this area before, and it was supposed to have been fixed.
We are confident about the way in which this building is secured.
Eventually packing up and being arrested.
Do you think you've helped your cause today?
A day of disruption before a long winter break.
So where to now for the Albanese government? Charles Croucher has more from Canberra.
On pure numbers, the government will now need the backing of the opposition or the Greens and 3 of the 9 members of the crossbench in the Senate. The path is there, but it will now take more negotiations and likely more concessions. Bigger picture though, Senator Payman and her supporters clearly believe the issue of Palestine is larger than any foreign policy issue in generations. And if they are right, and large chunks of voters, likely young and fueled by social media, move from Labor, then this is a landmark day in politics. As for Senator Payman, this is difficult. A lot of her staff are Labor staff, and they'll now be gone. Her friends here are often Labor friends, and so far, she says, none of them have reached out.
A Sydney man has faced a Queensland court over the golf buggy crash that killed his wife on their Whitsuntay's honeymoon. Police body cam has revealed what happened and the warning his bride gave him in the seconds before the buggy rolled.
Their married life had only just started, but 10 days on from Robbie Awad and Marina Hanna's grand Sydney wedding, the couple's Hamilton Island honeymoon turned to tragedy. They'd left their glamorous accommodation at Qualia Resort on June 20, 2022 in a golf buggy, the island's main form of transportation, travelling to get something to eat. But the newlyweds didn't make it far, the buggy tipping near One Tree Hill, crushing 29-year-old Marina underneath. She died at the scene.
What's it like returning to North Queensland today?
Robbie Awad today facing Proserpine Magistrates Court fighting one charge of driving without due care and detention, causing death.
How difficult have the past 2 years been for you?
Mr. Awad forced to relive parts of the harrowing incident as police body cam was played to the court from the hours following the buggy crash. In it, he's visibly distressed, sobbing while telling officers, "I'm sorry, I never listened to her. She told me, put your phone down. I said, we're going 5 kilometres an hour. What's the worst that can happen?" The court hearing Mr. Awad put his phone in his pocket before continuing up a steep hill. It wasn't going very fast and I said, "Oh babe, the battery's." So I said, "Oh, I'll chuck a Yui." And as I turned, it picked up pace. It flung her out. It just took off. That was it. It was 3 seconds. I can't believe she's dead. How does that happen?
What's your relationship like with Marina's family now?
When Mr. Awad took the stand this afternoon, he was asked if, looking back, he'd do anything differently. He responded, "It's something I've been thinking about for the past 2 years. I don't think I had heaps of options." Abby Guerin, NBN News.
A 43-year-old Lake Macquarie man has been charged with supplying drugs after a months-long police investigation. Detectives raided homes at Windale and Gateshead yesterday, allegedly locating $150,000 worth of drugs, including meth, cocaine, MDMA and cannabis. A man was arrested near the Gateshead property and taken to Belmont Police Station, where he was charged with 37 offences. He remains in custody and is due back in court next month.
A Merriweather man who helped steal nearly $50,000 worth of motorcycles from a Lake Macquarie dealership has been jailed. Mark McBlain was already serving a sentence in the community at the time of the brazen break-in.
Pilfering 5 bikes over 3 hours, Mark McBlain and another man raided Power Sports Central at Morisset in May 2023. But an anonymous tip-off about a ute seen nearby would later land the 50-year-old in court. Having since pleaded guilty to the break-in and a string of offences, including intimidating a police officer, today he faced sentencing. Acting Judge Anthony Blackmore noting the agreed facts revealed a relatively serious offence, as there were multiple entries as goods were removed from the shop through a large hole created in its wall. And he weighed up McBlain's lengthy criminal history spanning 30 pages, plus his history of mental health issues and drug abuse. The 50-year-old committed the offence while serving an intensive correction order. The judge guarded at best about the prospects of rehabilitation despite signs of remorse and having an offer of employment once released. Mark McBlain was jailed for up to 3 years and 3 months and learned his fate via video link from Kempsey Correctional Centre, blowing a kiss to his tearful partner.
He's a good guy, really, but it's just a shame. But yeah, sorry, that's all I want to say.
With time already served, McBlain could be released in August next year. Sarah Giuliano, NBN News.
A Newcastle woman is in a critical condition in a Bali hospital after a hit-and-run incident earlier this week. Rebecca Ode's family is desperately trying to get her back home. The community rallying in support.
Clinging to life in Bali. Rebecca Ode is about to undergo a 14-hour operation in a desperate effort by doctors to stop the bleeding on her brain and save what's left of her vision.
The operations she has had have been a success. It's very likely at this stage that she's lost vision in one of her eyes.
The 36-year-old moved to the island Haven in January, seeking a fresh start after the tragic loss of her father.
Created a beautiful friend network over here and, yeah, she was living life.
But when the phone rang early Tuesday morning, her family immediately knew something had gone wrong.
We got a phone call at 6 a.m. Woke up to a stranger
ringing us from overseas. So I said, just give it to me straight, how bad is it? And it was, yeah, this is bad.
Rebecca, the victim of a hit and run. Her sister and mother got on the first flight they could. Her brother-in-law, Jesse, providing support back home.
The problem at the moment is there's some air pockets on the brain of Becky, so the Medi-Air team are wanting to see some progress on those air pockets before they allow her to fly. The unfortunate part of all this is the cost. It's getting close to around that $250,000.
He started an online campaign which has raised more than $80,000 in 24 hours.
The sprints to get Becky out of Bali and the marathon will start when she gets home. So as much as people can support, it means the world to us.
We are overwhelmed with the response that we've had from the Newcastle community, and we know that Newcastle do band together when things like this happen.
This Sunday will be Rebecca's birthday.
She's such a beautiful girl, and she deserves everything. And it's my mission to get her home safely.
Tony Abragetti, NBN News.
New South Wales Police have launched a new recruitment drive designed to get more officers to work and stay in regional areas. You Should Be a Cop in Your Hometown is being rolled out statewide with a focus on the hunter.
Getting up close and personal with cops for a good reason.
How do you properly hold it?
So there was an older version.
Officers today sharing their love of the job in Tamworth in a bid to encourage more youth to follow the same career path. Launching a brand new program which will immerse students in an intensive 4-day work experience course.
They get exposed to the capability that the police force own, specialist services, what a police officer does day to day.
And for those who take the leap, a second pilot program will now give new recruits the option to return to their own hometown.
We're saying, once appropriate checks are completed, we will guarantee you will be able to come back to your hometown.
It's a move the force hopes will not only attract but retain more regional police, with many deterred by not knowing where they'll be posted once trained.
I'm an example. I'm a proud Inverell boy, and when I joined the police force, we had no choice but to go to Metro. So they sent me to the city of Sydney, of all places.
Across the state, there are around 1,500 vacancies within the New South Wales Police Force. The program aims to target 12 main regional areas, including the Hunter Valley, Mid-North Coast, Tamworth, Moree and Richmond.
We're not seeing the people wanting to join from regional New South Wales, so that's why it's become a real focus area for us.
For Constable Jack Venn, working in the town he grew up in has been incredibly beneficial for his role, but has also allowed his young families to stay put following his career change.
Local knowledge, I think, has been a big thing for me. Simple things like that you would take for granted, just knowing where you're going. When you start, you've got to get in a car and go somewhere in a hurry.
More information is available online. Georgia Vaughan, NBN News.
A little milder across the region today and sunny breaks at times. Showers still rolling through, the southeasterly winds never ending, making for milder nighttime temperatures, well above freezing throughout the upper Hunter. We topped out at around 16, 17 there. Closer to the coast, we topped out at around 17, 18 today.
Next, fraught times at court. What prompted sheriffs across northern New South Wales to take industrial action?
Former political staffer Bruce Lerman ordered to stand trial in Queensland.
And Joe Biden reportedly gives himself a deadline to convince voters he's up to the job.
No. Are the rumours true? Is that the new steakhouse stack? Crispy onions, creamy peppercorn mayo. It's finally landed.
Last year, 351 lives were lost on our roads. What would be a more acceptable number?
Acceptable? 70 maybe?
Actually, this is what 70 people looks like.
Family.
So, now what do you think would be a more acceptable number?
0.
Too many lives lost on New South Wales roads. Put safety first.
Uncover timeless, healthy-looking skin with Olay Regenerist. Formulated with bioavailable niacinamide, it reduces the look of up to 10 years of wrinkles in 28 days. For firmer, plumper skin. Olay, recommended by dermatologists.
Trailblazers, wildcards, middle-arm maestros.
No one dictates their dinner. Armed with nothing more than a trolley token, marching to the beat of their own wallets. They've got groceries in the bag. They're Aldi to the core. Aldi, good different.
There'll be lunches from Cape York to Broome, and on warm afternoons near Mudgee. Because Tip Top bakes every day with Australian wheat.
I can make everything nice with Tilda, steamed rice, halloumi wrap, a bibimbap or leftover Thai in a stir fry, red curry, green curry, all the curries, rice and beans, rice and pineapple. I can beef up a burrito or flavour some fish. Make dinner for one or a banquet for everyone. Go posh or squash. I can toss it, boss it, pile it up or style it up. Tilda, elevate your plate.
From grassroots to the games, Harvey Norman, proudly supporting Australian athletes.
They protect courthouses and help enforce the law, but sheriffs say they're not being looked after by the Minns government. Today they walked off the job in droves across northern New South Wales, seeking better pay and staffing levels.
Sheriffs say they're undervalued, overworked and underpaid.
What do we want? Fair pay! When do we want it? Now!
From the Central Coast to Newcastle, Tamworth and the North Coast. Today, dozens of them took their fight for better wages and working conditions to the streets, claiming they've been promised a pay rise for at least 2 years.
They're sick of the delay. They're sick of the committees.
Sheriffs earn $78,000 a year on average. The union says that no longer matches the dangers of the job.
They wear stab-proof vests. They're not given stab-proof vests because they're exposed to tickle fights.
They're standing at the front door of the courthouse here, stopping anyone going in there to try to injure or worse the staff in there, the magistrates.
44 courthouses across the state were impacted by today's industrial action, at least a third of those in the Hunter and Northwest. A dozen sheriffs are based in Tamworth. The union says they are regularly required to travel up to 3 hours to fill staffing gaps.
For every officer that works here that has to leave to go to another court, that leaves the staff here short-staffed as well.
Last year, the sheriff's pay was reviewed, and the union expected an increase in the state budget, but nothing transpired.
The government's dragging the chain on that, and it's not a problem that they've inherited from the previous government.
The Department of Communities and Justice told NBN News sheriffs have been offered a 10.5% pay rise, including super, over 3 years, and that it has a contingency plan in place to reduce impacts on courts during current and future industrial action.
If we don't get any action on this, we'll escalate it right across the state.
Rob Douglas, NBN News.
A man has admitted to nearly a dozen offences following a crime spree north of Newcastle spanning months. Nash Stephen Cobb was arrested at Karua on Tuesday after police investigations into a ram raid at Tea Gardens in March and a smash and grab at a Williamtown service station in January. Today, the 35-year-old pleaded guilty to 11 charges. The case is set to return to Raymond Terrace Local Court later this month.
Bruce Lerman has been ordered to stand trial in Queensland on 2 counts of rape after his lawyers failed to have the charges thrown out. The allegations against the former political staffer relate to a night out in Toowoomba 3 years ago.
Bruce Lerman at the Vault nightclub in his hometown allegedly introduced himself as Bryce to a woman he met inside the club in October 2021. They spoke about politics, consumed alcohol and cocaine, and later had consensual sex at a Toowoomba house. The details revealed for the first time in a committal hearing where prosecutors outlined their case that 2 non-consensual sexual acts took place the following morning, alleging the woman was asleep or passed out and woke to find Bruce Lerman raping her, after which he allegedly consoled her, saying it's okay, allegations Mr. Lerman denies. Lerman's lawyers argued the complainant's intoxication had impacted her memory, applying for the charges to be thrown out.
You tried to argue that the complainant was unreliable. You tried to argue the complainant couldn't remember.
The court heard the woman complained to police in November 2021 after seeing news coverage that identified Bruce Lerman as the man accused of raping Brittany Higgins in Parliament House.
I had worked my entire life to get here.
He denied those allegations and the criminal case ended in a mistrial, but in a subsequent defamation suit, a judge found it's probable Bruce Lerman did rape Brittany Higgins, a decision he's appealing. Bruce Lerman will now face a Queensland judge or jury after the magistrate found there is enough evidence for him to stand trial here in Toowoomba on 2 counts of rape.
There's a prohibition about lawyers commenting about such matters.
After fronting court in person last month, Lerman listened to today's proceedings via audio link. Upon ordering him to stand trial, the magistrate asked if he had anything to say. He responded, "Not at this time, thank you, Your Honour." A trial date is yet to be set. In Toowoomba, Anna Rawlings, NBN News.
Joe Biden appears to be considering the path forward, reportedly admitting to a key ally he may not be able to salvage his presidential bid if he can't convince the public in the coming days that he's up to the job.
He needs to get out there and earn the trust of the American people.
A second Democratic congressman has now gone public with a call for Mr. Biden to withdraw from the presidential race. The rain showers eased along much of the coast today with increased sunny breaks. Very little has changed on the satellite image as the low continues to spiral in the Tasman, helping to drive in those southeasterly winds. The low will finally break down as the high over the Southern Ocean dominates. The airflow around that high will remain the same, driving the showers across our coastline. So really more of the same. Coastal showers, heavy at times, southeast winds, large seas and swell, cool overnight temperatures and fine weather remaining west of the Divide.
Next, an exclusive look inside the centre that plays a key role in emergencies across New South Wales. And it's in the Hunter.
We're live to London as the UK Prime Minister faces an election wipeout.
And a study reveals the secret lives of the planet's biggest creatures.
There are some things in life you might regret, and there are some things you don't. Pay the same price at every Honda centre in your state or territory. Plus get 5 scheduled services for $199 each as standard. You don't regret a Honda.
Hungry Jack's new Palmy Jack's fried chicken. Fall in love with thick, juicy chicken, crispy bacon, delicious Napolitana sauce, and melted cheese on the new Palmy Jack's fried chicken. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Australia just in front.
If you think your cost of living is tough, the Albanese government is about to make it tougher for regional Australia. They want you to pay to stream your favourite sports.
Here's our tax cuts.
And our energy rebates. It's un-Australian.
Stand up for regional Australia. Stand up for a free sporting nation. Go to freeforeveryone.com.au.
Please keep sport free.
So, Dad, what's next? Well, now the Annie Gentleman's outfit is in town, there's only one place to go. Alright, let's leave to Charlestown.
Disney on Ice is hitting the road and you're invited.
Once the fun starts, it never stops. At Disney on Ice presents Road Trip Adventures, Newcastle Entertainment Centre from July 11th. Book now at Ticketek.
Instantly upgrade your TV and streaming with Hubble and Harvey Norman. Now you can watch free-to-air and streaming in one seamless integrated device for only $99. Plus, take your viewing experience to the next level with the Hubble Glass 4K QLED TV. Now at Harvey Norman with a 4K Ultra HD display capturing over 1 billion colours. Available in 55 or 65 inch. Personalise your Hubble Glass TV with your choice of 5 great colours. Experience the Hubble range now at Harvey Norman.
The Nick Scully winter sale is on now with up to 50% off selected designer furniture. Save up to 50% at the winter sale. On now at Nick Scully.
Alright, it's late to Charlestown.
To look your best, see Andy Roberts at Gentleman's Outfitters Charlestown.
We just did it casually at the start, but we started buying our own and doing it in private. Or was it in secret?
When did it become compulsive? Necessary, even.
Maybe it's time to ask. Why are we still doing this? Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Polls are open in the UK and Brits are casting their votes in an election which could deliver one of the biggest landslides in the country's modern history. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and the Conservatives said to be on track for political annihilation.
The final push to the finish line. Labor leader Keir Starmer already looking like a winner. For the Tories, many say it was a race that was over before it began. A campaign that started with the snap election called In the Rain, with no umbrella, ended with the PM on breakfast television meeting UK's most tattooed woman. With a number of missteps in between, Rishi Sunak promising to fight until the end.
I can tell you, it is not over until the final whistle blows, my friends.
There haven't been any serious blunders in the Labor campaign. In fact, some commentators have labelled it uninspiring, using the analogy that Keir Starmer has been carrying a precious vase. All he's had to do is not drop it.
Labour are relying on huge disaffection and in some cases people really despising the Conservatives rather than any great enthusiasm either for Starmer or Labour.
Polling suggests it'll be a Conservative wipeout, likely the biggest Labor victory since 1997 when Tony Blair took office, a so-called supermajority. It's the first election since law changes meaning British expats living in Australia for more than 15 years can vote.
It's now votes for life, so more people can come on the register, and that's where the Conservatives, the broad branch in Australia, has been very active in getting people back onto the roll.
Outspoken former Conservative Nigel Farage's decision to lead the Reform UK party expected to pull even more votes away from the Tories. The big issues for voters: cost of living, migration, and the state of the National Health Service. Now, it's over to the people.
And Jessica Millward joins us live now from London. Jess, voting is well underway.
Tash, that's right. Polling stations opened here a little over 2 hours ago and they'll remain open until 10 o'clock tonight. PM Rishi Sunak has already voted and it's looking increasingly like he's about to spend his very last day here at Downing Street. The latest YouGov poll predicting that Labor's going to have the biggest majority since 1832. And if we take a look at the front pages here in the UK, that is what the Times headline reads. While the Daily Mirror says Britain can be better than this, today you have the chance to make history. Vote for change, vote Labor. The Sun says time for a new manager, while the Daily Express is telling its readers vote Tory, saying today is a day of reckoning. It will be a hugely historic day. People here in the UK are very disillusioned and look set to vote in a new government, as seemingly the only question now is how big of a majority will Labor have. Tash?
Jess, thank you.
Hurricane Beryl continues to wreak havoc in the Caribbean, sweeping across Jamaica as a Category 4 storm. At least 8 people have so far died as a result of the hurricane, which is weakening as it makes its way towards the Cayman Islands. It's the strongest system to impact Jamaica in more than 15 years.
New details have emerged about the stampede which killed 121 people in northern India. 250,000 had gathered at the religious event, which had only been approved to host 80,000. Witnesses say the stampede occurred after large numbers of people attempted to move towards the stage to touch the feet of a guru. Well, you may not know it, but Newcastle plays a crucial role in the fire and rescue response across New South Wales. It's home to one of just 2 emergency communication centres in the state. And today, NBN News got an exclusive look behind the scenes.
We all know the flashing lights and piercing sound. But what happens before a fire crew arrives on scene? Today, we got the chance to find out.
Once we triage up, we get the location, we get the right resources going.
One of just 2 emergency communication centres in New South Wales, a quiet Thursday morning here at Newcastle's Cooks Hill Station never stays that way for long.
Fire rescue, what's your emergency?
The local team responsible for triaging all 000 calls outside of Sydney, coordinating crews from as far as the Queensland border in the north to the South Australian border in the west.
They'll get the incident type, what's got to go, they'll put all the fire units on it that are required, and then they'll get police and ambulance and so on.
One 30-year-old has been released from lift power has been isolated.
And it doesn't always involve flames.
Motor vehicle accidents, hazardous materials incidents, people in storm and tempest. It's rescue incidents, it's a cat up a tree.
Fire communication centres could once be found right across the state, including at Lismore and Katoomba, but in 2010 they were streamlined to just 2 locations, Sydney and Newcastle. The best part, these dispatchers are trained firefighters.
Probably the worst day of that person's life, to have an experienced operator on the other end of the line who can advise them and give instruction.
Station Officer Paul Randall has been in the service for 39 years. He says technology improvements have changed the game when it comes to emergencies.
I used to actually use the horse and cart, actually. Yes, madam, what's your problem? We've got a fire. And you'd be right into the paper.
To give you an idea of the numbers, fire and rescue responded to more than 250,000 incidents across New South Wales in the past 12 months. 50% of those were handled here at the Newcastle Communications Centre. Call by call, together they've seen the worst, like the horror bushfires of 2019 and 2020, and the best in each other.
You get that satisfaction from the job. You know, you go home at the end of the day, and even if you haven't turned a wheel on the truck all day, you know tomorrow you may do that.
Isabella Evans, NBN News.
Emergency departments in New South Wales are seeing a rising number of people presenting with the flu, with cases up 24% on the previous week. COVID numbers remain high, with nearly 5,000 cases reported this week. And there's a warning that a new sub-variant currently spreading rapidly across the US is likely to cause a spike here in the coming weeks.
Wall Street hit fresh record highs overnight, but Australia is lagging behind as we pass through the halfway mark of the year. Finance editor Chris Kohler explains.
Our share market rose strongly today, up 1.2%, with our biggest stocks putting on a show. But the truth is, our market's had a pretty tame 2024 so far. Since the beginning of the year, the ASX has gained just 3%. That's the line you can see down the bottom there. Wall Street, meanwhile, has gained 16%. That's the middle line. And the top line is the reason why. That one shows Wall Street tech companies so far this year, the likes of Apple and Nvidia. That group is up a thumping 32%. Australia can't keep up because our market is mostly made up of banks and miners. Neither have had those kinds of gains this year. So the super funds, which are more invested in US stocks, have been doing better so far this year. And we're starting to see some of those results come through. As for the Aussie dollar, it's touching highs not seen in 6 months, up above 67 US cents.
Australian scientists have revealed the secret lives of the biggest giants of the sea, capturing blue whales in their natural habitat off Timor-Leste. Never-before-seen footage shows how the whales interact and care for their young, providing a world-first insight into the endangered creatures.
This is a rare look into an underwater world. A mother whale nurses her calf and two adults frolic side by side. They're pygmy blue whales captured in waters off Timor-Leste, and this extraordinary insight into the species has been gathered over 10 years for a project led by Associate Professor Karen Eddy-Vane.
For the very first time ever recorded, we've seen a mother nursing a calf. Not only are they the largest animal on the planet, but they also are one of the most elusive as well.
In October and November, this pocket of the world plays host to hundreds of migrating mammals, so scientists have been watching closely.
Timor has been given, like a gift. It's been given a gift from nature, which is this amazing wildlife corridor that it sits on. What we've got to try and do is to help Timor develop sustainable whale tourism.
There's a decade of detail already gathered, but these experts are determined to keep diving into the big blue and beyond.
It's really important that we understand where those really critical areas are to make sure that we're protecting the whales in the best possible way.
Oh, it looks warm there.
Yeah, it does indeed. That's what you're thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move to sport now with Sophie.
So the Rabbitohs will be looking to keep the ball rolling tonight.
Latrell is running hot and the Eels are not. The late mail from Combank Stadium next, plus crunch time in Coffs Harbour. Craig Fitzgibbon backs Nico Hines ahead of the Sharks' clash with the Titans. 5 sets in 2 days, and Aussies' epic win at Wimbledon. And a 5-decade-old record falls at the Tour de France.
No. Are the rumours true? Is that the new steakhouse stack? Crispy onions, creamy peppercorn mayo. It's finally landed.
This is engineered timber from Beaumont's.
And this is engineered timber from Beaumont's.
And right now it's 25% off.
Plus other hard flooring, 20% off.
With new ranges and 25% off,
you'll be happy you chose Beaumont's.
Newton's laws of gravity were made to be broken in Aldi's ultralight insulated children's down jacket, just $34.99. It's special, you can buy at the Aldi Outdoor Adventure Sale this Saturday. Aldi, good different.
Trailblazers, wildcards, middle-hour maestros. No one dictates their dinner. Armed with nothing more than a trolley token, marching to the beat of their own wallets. They've got groceries in the bag. They're Aldi to the core. Aldi, good different.
Australia just in front. If you think your cost of living is tough, the Albanese government is about to make it tougher for regional Australia. They want you to pay to stream your favourite sports.
There goes our tax cuts.
And our energy rebate. It's un-Australian.
Stand up for regional Australia. Stand up for a free sporting nation. Go to freeforeveryone.com.au.
Please keep sport free.
You could get up to $4,000 cash back when you switch your home loan to IMB Bank. Get a great low rate with no application fee, no monthly or annual fee. All in the time it takes to whip up a stir fry. IMB Bank, right by you.
Ducks, hot water, built stronger to last longer.
Made in Australia for over 100 years, Ducks hot water systems are built stronger to last longer. Ducks.com.au.
Ducks.
Australian-made furniture, made for you at Harvey Norman. Have it designed to suit your space. Australian-made lounges built for family life with options in fabric, leather, size and shape. Australian-made dining furniture created to fit your space. Matching buffets, entertainment units and more to complete your look. Australian-made quality and comfort, competitive prices with a range of options available. Support local manufacturers and choose Australian-made furniture. Made for you. Now at Harvey Norman.
Go!
Off cold, bro. Try Vicks Vapor Drops Extra Strong. Up to 3 times more menthol.
Clear the walls!
How's the nose and throat?
Big Sophie Drops Extra Strong.
Craig Fitzgibbon believes Cronulla is heading in the right direction after almost arresting its mid-season slump against the Bulldogs. While that game ended in heartbreak, tomorrow night it's the Titans in Coffs Harbour, where the Sharks have already been buoyed by support.
Literally jumping out of their seats with excitement, Sharks fans were in their element, watching today's captain's run before racing to the sideline for autographs and photos. The coach confident all the hard work has been done ahead of tomorrow night's clash, which could see some slippery conditions.
We're familiar with the environment, so we've got to keep consistent on the stuff we've been doing well, and we've got a couple of add-ons we need to work with.
Craig Fitzgibbon says Cronulla's mid-season slide is a thing of the past.
We weren't playing the same footy or as defending as well as we were in the weeks previous, and then our last week was a really good performance. Obviously we didn't ice out moments, and throughout the course of the game discipline really hurt us, but as for the performance, the effort and the way you want to play, it was a big step in the right direction for us.
And after missing a winning field goal against the Dogs, Nico Hines has reset.
It's a lesson. It's going to make him stronger, have a stronger mental resilience, and go through his process and improve if the situation were to arise again, what to do next time.
The Titans arrived in Coffs yesterday, boosted by AJ Brimson, Jojo Fafita and Mo Fodawaker, all back after injuries and Maroon's duty.
It's really important that we get a bit of consistency about our play, so we want to get string some wins together.
But plenty of eyes will be on Dave Fafita, with the game serving as a final audition for Origin 3.
He's certainly got some X factor, hasn't he?
Kick-off is at 6 p.m. at the International Stadium.
We'll be ready for the best version of him, and they need to be ready for us too, so it makes for a good challenge.
Britt Ramsey, NBN News.
Latrell Mitchell is firing and the Rabbitohs have rediscovered that winning feeling. Tonight they face the struggling Eels at CommBank Stadium. James Bracey and Andrew Johns filed this preview.
Well, Kia Thursday night footy takes us to CommBank Stadium in Sydney. Evening, Andrew Johns.
Hi, Brace.
Parramatta, South Sydney tonight. The visitors, Latrell Mitchell, he's in form, and no surprise, all of a sudden the Bunnies are back in calculations.
Yeah, he's that sort of character you saw in New South Wales a couple of weeks ago. When he's up and he's excited, everyone's excited. Back to fullback tonight, played centre in Origin, obviously, but he'll have a huge game.
Up against his Blues teammate, Mitch Moses, tonight. He's not too happy with how the club is being run at the moment. He's playing angry.
Yeah, he's very frustrated. I can't believe Parramatta's running last, like considering the club, what a big club and the team on paper. But he's frustrated, like a lot of Eels players and fans. So hopefully tonight they can turn it around.
What are you feeling here? Rain's coming down as we speak right now.
I heard it's raining. I think Parramatta can win, yeah.
All right, it's Thursday night footy. It's a beauty, Andrew. Looking forward to this one. And as always, it's live and free right here on Nine's Wide World of Sports.
Alex de Minaur is back in action at Wimbledon tonight, taking on Spain's Jaume Munar for a place in the third round. He'll be hoping for a smoother victory than Thanasi Kokkinakis, who needed 5 sets over 2 days to advance.
It was a win that will live with Thanasi Kokkinakis for some time, a win 2 days in the making.
Simply standing from Thanasi Kokkinakis.
Keep hanging in there, keep putting that extra ball back. I give myself another chance. I love to compete. I missed Wimbledon last year, so to come and be back on these special grounds, a lot of Aussie fans, so yeah, I love it here.
Against Felix Auger-Aliassime, Kokkinakis was 2 sets down when bad light halted play. The sleep must have been a good one. He resumed the next day, right as a button. While Kokkinakis lives to fight another day, there is no next day for a few other Aussies. Alec Vukic found himself against defending champion Carlos Alcaraz, no less, but through sheer grit, pushed him to a first-set tiebreaker. Alcaraz merely flicked the switch, going on to win in straight sets. A defeat also for Jordan Thompson against Brendan Nakashima. Of the big names, Daniil Medvedev made it through in 4 tight sets against Alexander Mueller. Coco Gauff is safely through to the third round, and in the all-Italian battle, Yannick Sinner outlasted Matteo Berrettini.
Mark Cavendish has set a new record for the most Tour de France stage wins. The British rider's 35th victory, moving him past Belgium's Eddy Merckx, who held the title for 49 years. Today, Pogačar holds the leader's yellow jersey after 5 stages. Next, meet the relative rookie from the Hunter who'll carry Australia's hopes in one of the toughest Olympic sports of them all. And Shane Rose completes a remarkable comeback to make the Games.
Oh no. Hey. Hey. Is that the McSmart meal from Macca's?
Yeah, 2 burgers, small fries and drink for $6.95.
Smart.
At Aussie Broadband, we reckon there's more to the Aussie way than just this. Like telling it straight, without the BS. Go for the green.
Straight up service and support. That's Aussie Broadband. That's the actual Aussie way.
When it comes to a healthy white smile, I compromise. Between whitening and strengthening.
Why compromise?
Dr. Riley?
You can do both. Oral B 3D White Professional Toothpaste. It whitens and strengthens teeth.
I can whiten without compromise. Switch to Oral B.
We've got the lowest prices for painting this DIY July.
Corbin's interior paint, $67.90. Monarch brush pack, just $30.
Where you find the competitor's lower price on the same stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%. Lowest prices are just the beginning.
When the lucky country isn't so lucky, it's lucky you're with Amy.
Lucky you're with Amy.
How good is that first sip of a silky smooth oat milk latte? How good is a dairy-free smoothie that's high in calcium? How good is creamy without the cream? How good? So good.
From the creators of the 2021 and 2022 Drive Car of the Year comes the next big thing. The Kia EV9, the 2024 Drive, and now World Car of the Year.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
Australia just in front. If you think your cost of living is tough, the Albanese government is about to make it tougher for regional Australia. They want you to pay to stream your favourite sports.
Here's our tax cuts. And our energy rebate. It's un-Australian.
Stand up for regional Australia. Stand up for a free sporting nation. Go to freeforeveryone.com.au.
Please keep sport free.
The Nick Scully winter sale is on now with up to 50% off selected designer furniture. Save up to 50% at the winter sale. On now at Nick Scully.
It's snow time at Hunter Valley Gardens. An epic ice world packed full of frosty fun for all the family. Tickets for snow time on sale now at hvg.com.au.
This report brought to you by Serena Tuna. Nothing compares.
One of the original events of the modern Olympics, the pentathlon is also one of the most difficult. So much so, Australia will only have one competitor in Paris, Hunter's Genevieve Jans van Rensburg, who's making her Games debut.
Training for 5 very different sports. It's a commitment Genevieve Jans van Rensburg has been willing to make for a shot at Olympic gold.
I have swimming in the mornings and then I come straight here for a sprint session, 7:30 to 8:30, and then I have riding at the Central Coast at 1 p.m, and then straight to Sydney for fencing 6 to 8, and then Tuesday morning back in the pool at 5 to 7, and then running again at 7:30.
Modern pentathlon entails swimming, riding, fencing and a combined laser shooting run. In Rio, Australia's Chloe Esposito shocked the world by reaching the top of the podium. 2 years later, the Olympic champion became Jans van Rensburg's inspiration.
She came to our school and did a talk on how she got there, what she did, all the adventures she did, and I was like, oh, that's only 3 more sports. Like, that's easy, I can do that. And then Mum was like, well, you're going to have to try it. At least do the fencing before you, like, commit to this. So I did a year of fencing just to check that, you know, I actually enjoyed it.
The 20-year-old didn't just enjoy it, she became the nation's best.
Thinking it would be a good experience to get the confidence and the skills up to where we need for Olympics, and then, yeah, won. Yeah.
After qualifying for the Australian team last September, next month all her hard work will come to the fore when she competes at the Palace of Versailles. Adam Murray, NBN News.
Shane Rose has defied doctors' expectations and qualified for a 4th Olympics. In March, the Aussie equestrian rider broke multiple bones in a serious fall.
One of our surgeons, he said it'll take me 10 to 12 weeks before I'm walking, and I remember thinking I might need a new doctor.
Rose also had to overturn a ban for riding in a mankini. Coach Joe Schmidt has announced the Wallabies' 7th different captain in just over a year. Flanker Liam Wright will skipper the side against Wales at Allianz Stadium on Saturday, while Schmidt has named 7 debutants for what will be his first test in charge. And Wallaroos coach Jo Yap has unveiled her squad for Saturday's test against Fiji in Sydney. Nelson Bay's May Stewart is out due to injury, with Biola Dawa set to debut in her absence. All up, 2 Hunter locals, Lane Morgan and Leilani Nathan, were named in the starting 15. All Newcastle Rugby League matches this weekend have been called off, with the season extended by a week due to wet weather. Last night, the Northern Hawks went down to Wyong 36-14 in a catch-up game. Baden Searle was instrumental in the Roos' victory, crossing twice. The win is Wyong's 4th of the season and keeps the club within reach of the top 5. Edgeworth snapped the Magic's NPL winning streak last night thanks to a late goal from Seth Clark in the catch-up game at Spears Point. Meanwhile, Adamstown's delayed round 15 match ended in defeat. Despite being level at the break, New Lambton's Charlie Kelly ensured the Rosebud went home disappointed. And Jets legend Jason Hoffman scored in his return to Olympic, helping defeat Lake Macquarie 4-1. He's an electrical apprentice by day, but a boxer full of power and energy by night. Now the Hunter's Zach Fitzpatrick is looking to charge up the sports ranks, the 19-year-old ready to make his professional debut on Saturday week. After 8 years as an amateur, Fitzpatrick is taking the next step.
Oh look, it's been my dream since I've been little, you know. I've always wanted to be a pro fighter, so yeah, I thought, why not start now.
He's already had a successful career, including 5 Australian League titles. But that success has made the switch harder, with opponents running scared.
Hassling gyms on Facebook, up and down the East Coast, trying to get someone in, gone as far as Perth and even Papua New Guinea and Indonesia looking for opponents.
Ironically, the search ended close to home, with fellow Hunter local Patrick Lilly to face Fitzpatrick at Edgeworth on July 13. Zach's coach, Paul Cupid, confident his young gun has what it takes.
I think it's his speed. He's extremely fast, starting to develop his power now that he's getting that little bit older. He just loves a scrap as well. It's I think that's the Cessnock in him. I'm pumped, you know, more than ready. It's been a long camp. I'm just ready to go.
His preparations helped by sparring with another rising star, Sam Goodman.
Well, he's one of the best in the world, so you know, it's only improving me. I just want to keep improving, honestly. I want to, it'd be great to win titles, like Australian titles, world titles. You know, I just want to improve. It's just about taking the right steps now, and we've got the right foundations laid. We've just got to take the steps slowly, making sure he's not going out too hard too early.
Morgan Siblick impressed on day 2 of the Bolito Pro. The Merriweather board rider posting one of the highest scores of the day to advance to the round of 32, where he'll meet the Central Coast, Joel Vaughan.
I just wanted to start on the inside. I don't know, just to get the ball rolling, try to get the first over the heat, and then just move wide.
Sadly, clubmate Jackson Baker's return to the Challenger Series was short-lived, his campaign ending in the round of 64. And Newcastle Speedway rider Jason Doyle has revealed he's on track with his recovery from a serious shoulder injury and has decided to race in Australia later in the year. The 2017 world champion has put his name down for Adelaide Speedway Masters event in December. Good to hear who's on the mend.
For sure. Thank you, Soph.
Thanks, Soph. Well, relatively clear on the radar at the moment, which is nice. Some lovely breaks, a little bit of sunshine as well. What's next? Details after the break.
RSL rescue. Proud locals keeping their historic club alive.
I wanted to be part of it.
A current affair next.
Oh. Hey, is that the McSmart meal from Macca's?
Yeah. 2 burgers, small fries and drink for $6.95.
Smart.
All coming on? Cordial time.
It can't be. I have my son this weekend.
Head home and rest up. So at playtime, you can unlock Veronicasaurus. Soldier on with Cordial.
Get more zeros in your life. Win Friday's European jackpot, worth over $100 million. Yep, 100 million. Tax-free. Draw closes midnight Friday. Play now at lotteryoffice.com.au.
At Coles, we're helping to reduce the cost of your weekly shop. Simply scan your Flybuys in store and turn 2,000 Flybuys points into an instant $10 off your shop. $10 off with Flybuys. That's great value, hands down, at Coles.
Prime Day is coming, 16 to 21 July. With 6 days of epic deals exclusively for Prime members, you'll feel like a big deal. Prime Day, 16 to 21 July.
Anaconda's up to 50% off bigger than ever a sale, final days. Huge savings on snow gear, camping gear, full brake gear, bikes and more. Anaconda's up to 50% off bigger than ever a sale, final days. Play more and pay less this winter with our 10% price beat guarantee. Anaconda!
Harvey Norman, your destination for the new Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Purchase the new Motorola Razr 50 Ultra 512 gig for $0 up front when you connect to a new Optus $99 per month SIM-only plan for 24 months. That's right, say yes to Optus and purchase the new Motorola Razr 50 Ultra 512 gig for $0.
Outdoor living? It's the perfect time to create that extra entertaining area and enjoy our great Aussie climate. So call Patio World now and organise your free design proposal today.
Visit Down to Earth Opals in Lightning Ridge for the world's finest opals, jewellery and gifts to suit everyone. View the famous Fire and Ice Black Opal from Outback Opal Hunters. Down to Earth Opals, where opal chooses you.
The Nick Scully winter sale is on now with up to 50% off selected designer furniture. Save up to 50% at the winter sale. On now at Nick Scully.
Well, it's still very easy to be caught out. You think it's all over, then bam, another shower comes on through hard and fast. And overall, it is going to continue. Most of the East Coast is seeing the nation's wet weather at the moment because of this ongoing trend at the moment. If you look at the satellite image, it's almost the same as what it was on Monday, with that low still spiralling around offshore, generating the swell and helping to maintain the southeasterly winds. But it is going to begin to finally break down during the next 24 hours, but it's largely being driven by this massive high, this southeasterly influence. Absolutely enormous, making for some extremely cold nights throughout Tasmania, breaking July records. Coldest July temperatures on record at Liawini, down to almost minus 13 during the early hours of this morning. All of this is feeding this trough line. Now we're going to see the clouds increase, and the northeast band is going to ramp up, and that's going to produce inland rain as we move into the weekend, reaching us early next week. But until then, the showers continue in between Sydney and Brisbane. Generally fine, just cold throughout the southeast, and for the centre, not half bad in the west for Perth also. Today, some lovely breaks, not half bad, but every now and then a shower there comes through, small and fast, but they were less frequent as we were expecting, only topping out at 17 to 18, generally fine right throughout the lower upper Hunter. Southeasterly winds again for another day. Moderate to strong, easing off by Sunday, which is a good little sign there. Tomorrow, more of the same, but probably going to see another burst of showers build as we move through the day and then push on through. So be prepared for it. Don't come unstuck. You think it's all over with, and then they roll across our coast and then driving across the suburban areas, trying to push deeper inland, but struggling to reach the upper Hunter again. 17s generally throughout tomorrow. Might see some 18s unfold overnight. Nighttime temperatures a little bit milder. You don't get the frost, you don't get the fog formation with this setup at the moment as temperatures dip down to 4 degrees. It's cool, of course, and then partly cloudy with the occasional shower reaching places like Scone, around Denman, Merriwar, Jerry's Plains. Every now and then you see a little bit of a shower agreed to Branxton Way, but generally most of it is hitting the coast more consistently. 2.5 metres of swell tomorrow, backing off a little bit, a sign that that low is deteriorating. 5 to 7, sun's up, down at 5 tomorrow morning, high tide just before 8 a.m, back to the low at 1:15. The swell just shy of 3 metres, backing off also ever so slightly, along with the shower activity, not too bad over the weekend. 19s, the occasional shower. Rain band moving through early next week. The numbers don't look huge. We'll see periods of light rain right across the entire region there Tuesday, but otherwise generally fine for the upper Hunter. But the Central Coast seeing showers in the coming days, easing over the weekend, then the rain belt reaching us by next Tuesday, then clearing up from Wednesday, Thursday next week. Let's take a look at Bar Beach. It is a blown out, uninviting mess at the moment. It's really the devil wins. It gets into just about every single nook and cranny. You literally cannot find protection from this wind direction, just pushing the waves over. So a couple of swimmers trying to get out and make the most of the conditions, and that's about it. Yes, the coast copping a battering continuously.
For sure. Thank you, Gav. That is NBN News.
So from all the team.
Good night.
Good night.